Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Annie and I, our family, we own a relatively small travel trailer. It's a camper. And the decision to buy the camper came about somewhat organically and unexpectedly. About a year and a half ago, Annie and I began to have the conversation, the observation that, our eldest daughter is 7 years old, which means we have, maybe, hopefully 7 more years when she will want to spend time with us, right? I mean, what will make her after that, but we have about 7 years tops, when we will suggest time away and she will be excited about that. And with that observation, we decided, so what are we going to do together? How are we going to build memories, a foundation as a family that hopefully later when we're forcing interaction, there's a foundation of love. And so we decided, we both like to camp. We both love the outdoors. We also have small children, which means that we need a toilet and we need hot water at this time in life. And so one of us in the conversation said, we could buy one of those campers. And I don't remember which one of us said it, but the other one said, well, does anyone actually own those things anymore? They're kind of antiquated, aren't they? And then the conversation subsided, and then what happened after that is, we went about our lives. We went to work and to school, and on the roads, we began to notice how many travel trailers are actually out there. Each day, we would see more and more. It's amazing. Have you ever thought about buying a car? You're thinking about buying a Subaru, for example. And then only at that moment do you realize that how many Subarus are out on the road. Suddenly, there's a Subaru on every trip because you're thinking about buying a Subaru. Which brings me to our gospel lesson. Bear with me, okay? Bear with me. So this morning is the last Sunday after Pentecost. It's Christ the King Sunday. This Sunday, liturgically, it is New Year's Eve, because next Sunday will be Advent 1, the New Year. And so on this last Sunday after Pentecost, the feast is the reign of Christ, or Christ the King, which is actually the most recent feast in the church. Does anyone know why Christ the King Sunday came about? This is a rhetorical question. I asked this at 7:45, and of course, Jonathan Burke raised his hand because he knew, right? So Christ the King Sunday was implemented in 1925 by Pope Pius XI. You know why? It was as a result, as a response to rising secularism and nationalism in Europe. As a response to rising secularism and rising nationalism in Europe, Pope Pius XI implemented a new feast, Christ the King Sunday, to remind us, to help us proclaim that our citizenship as Christians is first and foremost in the kingdom of heaven. We are first and foremost followers of Jesus, and everything we are about, who we are, flows from that identity. So this morning, in our gospel lesson, suddenly we find ourselves at the end of the gospel of Luke. We've been hearing stories, reading stories from Luke these past several months, and suddenly, though, we are at the foot of the cross, hearing the crucifixion of Jesus and these two criminals. This story, this interaction is unique to the Gospel of Luke. These two criminals, one of which questions who Jesus is and how he finds himself on the cross. The second criminal realizes who Jesus is, what that means for him, and what that means for the world. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. We live still in a world filled with suffering, with polarity, secularism, nationalism. Not much has changed in many ways. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. What does it look like to be a citizen of the kingdom of heaven? What does it mean? It means, like this second criminal, we are able to stand at the foot of the cross, stand amidst suffering and polarity and conflict, and see resurrection and death. What it means is to continue to proclaim that death does not win, life wins. Love wins, God wins. Even when it is impossible to see. It means looking out into a world where people are sick, where there are fires, where there are wars, and fighting Subarus. Because we're looking for Subarus. Because we are discerning if we're going to buy a Subaru. We are citizens of the kingdom of heaven, and so when we are aware, when we proclaim, when we know that God wins, that life wins, that love wins, that there is hope, we realize that there are travel trailers all around. There is sickness, and there are people healing. There is conflict, and there are people seeking peace. There is polarity, and then there is areas of relationship and hope. And even when it's hard, impossible to see, we keep looking, we keep proclaiming. I have another metaphor for what it means to be a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. To proclaim, hope wins, life wins, love wins on this last Sunday after Pentecost. So you'll see I'm wearing glasses this morning, right? I normally wear contacts. My daughters like my glasses. I don't know why, but they do. They often encourage me to wear it. So my eyesight is actually okay. I can function okay without my glasses, right? So if I took off my glasses right now, I can walk, right? If I go down these steps, I'm not going to fall because I can see well enough to see that there are steps. I'm not in immediate danger, right? I can see Marilyn, right? I can see Bill. I can see Alice, although I can't see Alice right now. I can see people around me, right? But I can't see detail, right? As I'm talking, I can't see if Marilyn is trying to give me support or whether she doesn't understand what I'm saying, right? I can see my wife, but I can't see if she's telling me to wrap it up or not, right? I remember from earlier in the service that, Sharon is back in the middle, but I can't really see her right now. And I definitely can't see Rex, but I know he's there because I remember seeing him earlier. If someone were to walk in these doors right now, if a new visitor were to walk in, I couldn't see that visitor. I wouldn't know to welcome them after the service, right? But if I put my glasses on, I'm not nearly as alone, right? I see people I love, right? I can look to Marilyn for a nod or for support. I can know if my wife wants me to wrap up my sermon, right? I can see Sharon. I can see Rex. If someone comes into the church right now, I can know to greet them later. I can ask for help better because I can see just a little bit clearer. Wearing my glasses doesn't take away all of the conflict and disease and war and polarity in the world, but it helps me see just a little bit clearer. It helps me to help, and it helps me to ask for help. To be a citizen in the kingdom of heaven is to see just a little bit clearer that resurrection happens, that love wins, that life wins, and that God wins. And so even when we see conflict and illness and war, we see just a little bit clearer what the end of the story will look like. And we can be a part of that process. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Amen.